Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. I bet you're saying, what the heck is this? This is not the normal video from the Audiophile Junkie. And it's not even commensurate with the title. Didn't I say in the title this is about open baffle speakers and why I like them? At least one reason why? Well, it's going to take a little bit of creativity on your part, but I'm going to explain why I'm pointing to my projector. It's actually a new projector. As I mentioned, I went to Dallas not only to see the gorillas. Here's my new gorilla shirt. Actually, 5 people came up to me today. I can't believe it. I didn't think the gorillas were as big as when you wear this shirt, all of a sudden you find so many fans. Great concert, by the way. But also, I was in Dallas for CEDIA, and I stepped up my projector game. After I came back, I said, I got to get a better projector. So I did. And what you're seeing here is a hush box, kind of a do-it-yourself hush box I created. Basically, what I did was I took the box that it came in, because it has enough headroom on both sides to give still good airflow. And then what I did is lined it with no res on the inside on all the corners. Now I did cut out the back so it has much more airflow than a traditional hush box, which is all enclosed. And sometimes these professional hush boxes actually have fans. I didn't want this to overheat, so I've already tested it. I'm not overheating it. But I have no res on the inside lining of the box and on the outside. No res, like I showed you in my build of the GR Research and Extremes, isn't all that attractive. So I dressed it up with this prettier room treatment stuff, the foam stuff. This stuff doesn't do much at all, but it does look better. So I dressed it up and kind of made the hush box almost like into a quasi room treatment. And it negates the noise that the fan makes, because that's one of the downsides of a projector, especially if it's right over your listening position. So you're saying, what the hell does this have to do with open baffle speakers? Well, think about a cabinet, sealed box cabinet, or even a ported box cabinet. Think of, just stand behind a point source box speaker and listen to what you hear versus in front. Totally different. And those reflections behind the speaker are eventually getting to your listening position. Those bounce around behind you just as much as, well, not as much as the point source. The amplitude of that is much higher, but that sound behind you gets reflected. But what's even bigger problem for me, and what I notice even on mega dollar speakers that are box speakers, is that same thing that this will outline to you. Even with 2 layers of no res plus all of this stuff, I can still measure a noise floor and slightly hear the fan in here. Now, I'll be quiet for a second. It's not obnoxious. You can barely hear it. Actually, my DVD player, when it's spinning, kind of makes even more noise. And then I have one of these mini split ACs that I can turn off totally when doing critical listening. These are really nice. So my noise floor is pretty low in here. But this is simulating the fact that even with just a very minor fan noise, it's still bleeding out through all those layers of insulation, per se, and you can still hear it. A point source box speaker, if you can imagine your ears being inside that cabinet, the other side of the driver is creating a sound in that cabinet. It's not dead. Some of them do polyfill to kind of deaden it and whatnot, but certainly it's much louder than even this fan is. And if this fan can still bleed out through all that stuff, certainly you're going to hear some of that coloration and sound that's in the cabinet come out and bleed out of the speaker. And that's what I sometimes am more sensitive to. Even with these mega dollar point source box speakers, I can always point to where the music's coming from, and some of that coloration you can feel and sense over time. It's become quite annoying to me that it colors, especially the mid-range, whatever the resonance is in a lot of cabinets, it just bleeds out, and then it colors the mid-range, and then you can also makes it much more difficult for the speakers to disappear. And so that's why I try to highlight speakers that, and a lot of the British BBC ones do a great job of negating that or making it work to your advantage. And some other speakers that I've featured do a really good job. The Acoras with their cabinet design. really smart. You don't really get that sense of the point source box speaker and some of those colorations that I'm talking about. So again, the advantage though with Open Baffle is that whatever, there is no box coloration per se. These baffles or these wings on one side, they're open on another. Some of them have full covered in, and so it'll be a little bit different tonality from behind than going forward, but it's much less annoying, and a coloration that at least I'm sensitive to. I understand that other people are not sensitive to it, they don't care, and there's obviously some advantages to point source box speakers and the acoustic wave that they can generate, the back wave, especially with bass, that they can do. So I'm not saying this is the only way, but it's something that I think people overlook and don't really listen for. And then when they get an open baffle speaker and they know that something's different, sometimes it's just a case of getting used to what that improvement is in their mind and what it's due to. And to me, that's one of the big advantages of open baffle. You don't have the coloration of the cabinet bleeding through and influencing what's coming out of that driver. So I know this is going to trigger a lot of people, but just come over. You can listen for yourself. If the sound bleeds out through a little bitty projector fan through all of this, just think of what all these drivers do in a point source box cabinet. All right, guys. See you back here soon.